to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Coming up on Good Morning Maine, we'll hear from a local financial advisor about how to navigate the stock market with the Iran war and economic impact underway.
Plus, a beloved business in Quebec was destroyed in a fire yesterday. We'll hear how much it meant to the community coming up.
And the Maine Opioid Settlement Center presented their first annual report of spending in different Maine communities.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning. Those are just a few of the stories we'll bring to you over the next hour. But first, a check of the forecast, and you'll notice that it's a little slippery in some areas this morning.
It was. I almost fell, actually.
Did you? Yeah,
Yes.
You'll want to take it easy as you're walking out to your car, and
Yep.
certainly as you're driving to wherever you're going today. And it looks like today will be just a cloudy day and a bit colder than yesterday.
A little bit more chilly.
Yeah.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment. 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is posted until 7 a.m. as we head towards your Friday along the coast, as we're watching for some active surf that will be taking place until about that time frame. Meanwhile, on land, we are watching for some clouds that are passing through from the north and going toward the south. We will be under a mostly cloudy sky as we do move forward today. As we do zoom things out, there is more activity farther down toward the south, but we will be dry for a little while as we do move forward in time. Futurecast showing the clouds tracking from north to south, and we are going to be holding on to those clouds for a while. Notice the activity to the south, and that will be leaving us alone. And notice a few breaks in the clouds too, so some sunshine, especially tomorrow, not out of the question. So either way, though, your hourly forecast pushing forward. Again, we are holding on to the clouds with temperatures remaining steady in the 20s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, as the U.S. looks to strike deeper into Iran, the Pentagon has identified the remaining 2 of the 6 American soldiers killed in Kuwait. The war is widening, with U.S. allies in the region bracing themselves. ABC's Marcus Moore has the latest.
Overnight, new video of U.S. forces destroying what the Pentagon describes as an advanced Iranian warship. The U.S. says 20 Iranian naval vessels have now been sunk, including this Iranian ship in the Indian Ocean, torpedoed by a U.S. submarine, the first such attack by the Navy since 1945. U.S. officials also ramping up the war effort over land, vowing to strike deeper inside Iran, releasing this video of long-range precision strike missiles being used in combat for the first time.
It's a great display of military strength.
The Pentagon now identifying more of the U.S. troops believed to have been killed in Sunday's Iranian drone attack in Kuwait. They include Major Jeffrey O'Brien of Iowa and Chief Warrant Officer Robert Marsan of California. The 4 other victims were already identified, including Sergeant First Class Nicola Moore of Minnesota, a mother of 2 whose husband says he spoke to her 2 hours before she was killed. She was just days from returning home. Iran overnight launching more missiles toward Israel and Saudi Arabia as the State Department announced the first chartered flight carrying American evacuees had departed the Middle East.
To be here, close to a week later is definitely disheartening.
Here in Qatar, I met Ryan Blackman from Frisco, Texas. He's hoping to get home to his wife and 3 kids.
I have hopes that every day is going to be the last day, that I'll be here and ultimately get to go back home.
Thousands of Americans across 14 countries are urgently trying to flee the region. Sarah Monti from Nashville says a missile narrowly missed her hotel in Dubai.
I have a video of a missile that was deflected right off of our balcony. It was something that you never think you're going to live through. It's nerve-wracking to say the least.
And the U.S. State Department says it is actively working to secure additional flights for evacuees, as there are thousands of Americans still stranded here in the Middle East as this war spreads. Marcus Moore, ABC News, Doha.
Well, meanwhile, both Maine senators are speaking out about their votes on the Iran War Powers Resolution. Our Callie Warren breaks down their responses.
Reporting from the Associated Press indicates that an effort has failed in the U.S. Senate that would have halted U.S. involvement in the war in Iran. That legislation is called a War Powers Resolution, and it failed Wednesday. 54 votes in the negative and 47 in the affirmative. Those votes mostly fell along party lines. Here's how our senators voted.
The administration did not have a clear rationale for going in or a plan for what happens now.
Senator Angus King voted to pass that War Powers Resolution, saying the government needs more time to plan overseas involvement and should have consulted with Congress before becoming embroiled in conflict.
And the reason I voted yes today is that going to war is the most solemn step that any country can make. The framers of our Constitution knew that. They explicitly, and I mean in so many words, said that Congress are the people to declare war, not the president.
King adding Wednesday that his concerns lie not only with the American people, but also with innocent civilians in Iran who could be in the line of fire.
I'm worried about the good people of Iran who don't like their regime, who have been in opposition. The president, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense are all saying to the Iranian people, rise up, now is your opportunity. That is a hollow promise if all we're doing is air power.
Senator Susan Collins stuck with her fellow Republicans and voted to strike the bill down. She released a statement saying in part, quote, "We cannot tolerate a nuclear-armed Iran. The Iranian regime's pursuit of nuclear capabilities, ballistic missile development, and support for terrorist proxies pose serious and long-standing threats to the national security of the United States and our allies," end quote. She added her own thoughts on the question of obeying the Constitution in matters of conflict, saying, quote, "The Constitution gives Congress an essential role in matters of war and peace. Sustained combat operations require full engagement with Congress. The administration has adhered to the provisions of the War Powers Act that require notification to Congress within 48 hours of hostilities commencing, and it has provided numerous classified briefings to Congress," end quote. She went on to say, quote, "Passing this resolution now would send the wrong message to Iran and our troops," end quote. At the time of airing this story, we have yet to hear from our Maine representatives weighing in. The statements from both senators will be available in full on our website. In studio, I'm Callie Warren for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Investors in the U.S. might feel a sense of trepidation regarding the events occurring in the Middle East and its ripple effect on our economy. Our Doug Banks spoke with a local financial advisor about how people should navigate the stock market during its current state.
This is John Byrne, a financial advisor with over a decade of experience.
No day repeats itself.
The recent joint strikes by the U.S. and Israel on Iran is more than enough to cause a ripple effect within the U.S. economy and make investors wary of the stock market's future, something Byrne currently describes as
volatile, but it's not unusually volatile. I try to reassure my clients that while the causes may be different, the results in the markets aren't that different.
He recommends people keep a broad and diverse mix of investments.
We don't want to put all our eggs in one basket.
Invest in companies with strong management teams who are experienced in getting through
whatever the volatility of the day is.
And proactively rebalancing accounts.
Can make some of the scarier days a little easier to get through.
The recent events can be seen in everyday life. A Gas Buddy report showed the price of oil jumping over $10 a barrel and a predicted 15 to 30 cent per gallon rise at the pump, as hundreds of ships are currently anchored in the Persian Gulf. But Byrne reassures that these spikes could be short-lived.
Those types of cost spikes on energy tend to be fairly short-lived as well after geopolitical events like this.
He advises folks to not get caught up in the short-term noise. Don't make reactive changes. Don't let politics influence investments, but do stay focused on long-term goals.
Stay focused on why you're investing, why you're saving this money, because what happens in the next month in terms of our investment performance is unlikely to have a major impact on the actual outcome 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now.
In Bangor, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, in other news this morning, a beloved business in rural Maine was destroyed in an early morning fire. Our Alex Schley has more on what this local establishment meant to the community for generations.
Around 4:30 Wednesday morning, first responders received reports of a building fire at the Sebec Country Store on Milo Road.
Upon arrival, there was heavy smoke from the side of the building.
Owner Allison McCormick says her husband was plowing the parking lot when he spotted the smoke. Sebec Fire Chief Mike Harris says when crews arrived, the call was quickly upgraded to a third alarm fire, triggering mutual aid from 8 neighboring departments. With no fire hydrants in Sebec, crews shuttled water from Foxcroft Center Road in Dover-Foxcroft.
A quick attack on the fire and got the fire knocked down as quick as possible.
Despite the quick response, McCormick says the interior was severely damaged. Residents say the country store opened in the 1960s and has long served as Sebec's only convenience store. But to many in the town, it was more than a place to grab milk or gas. It was a community gathering space that allowed residents to connect.
It's a very community-oriented establishment. A lot of people meet here for coffee and breakfast in the morning.
They've become family especially with the morning crew, but everybody comes here at different times, and they've offered the community a lot of good things.
Harold Baird, better known as Buddy, is one of the regulars you can find there most mornings.
The riffraff shows up at 5 in the morning.
Well, what is that? How many of you guys are there?
Oh, probably 5, 6, 7 guys, wood crews.
Gosh.
Guys that cut wood and guys that are still cutting wood and welders and stuff.
The McCormick say the state fire marshal's office told them the fire was electrical. They say they do have insurance, but it's unclear if or when they will be able to rebuild. In Sebec, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A bill that would change law enforcement at the state capitol was heard in the Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee yesterday. LD 2165 is a governor's bill co-sponsored by Senate President Matty Daughtry and House Speaker Ryan Fecteau. The bill aims to restructure the Capitol Police as the department currently stands and change supervisor authority to have the Maine State Police run Capitol law enforcement operations. If passed, duties to patrol the Capitol would be passed to state police troopers, meaning vacancies in the Capitol Police Department would be filled by state police personnel. The bill has proven controversial, with some saying it will provide greater security and support to Capitol officers, and others worried about a pay gap and difficulties in the transition.
They care about the mission, they care about you, they care about this complex, and they were looking for help. I think they were looking for additional resources. They were looking for a different structure.
This bill will cause chaos, confusion, and uncertainty within the Capitol Police. Numbers provided by the Commissioner of Public Safety, as you heard, makes that pay parity difference annually of about $100,000 to replace one Capitol Police officer with one state trooper.
A work session is to be held on this bill at a later date.
Maine legislators are working to address the presence of drones near correctional facilities. LD 2157 was presented by Representative Chad Perkins of Dover-Foxcroft. Perkins says drones can be used to smuggle contraband into prisons or to coordinate criminal activity. To combat this, the bill would criminalize the operations of drones on or over correctional facility premises.
In fact, the problem is so prevalent now that there are some states where they're, reporting 70, 80 instances a month where drones are being used to smuggle contraband into prisons.
Perkins says the bill has been amended so only instances of operating drones with malicious or criminal intent would be punishable. He adds that if the bill passes, Maine would be one of several states to pass laws regulating drones at correctional facilities.
One of the 29 nonprofits that received money after the Lewiston mass shooting is giving that money back to help families of the victims and survivors. 18 people were killed and 13 were injured after a gunman opened fire at Just in Time Recreation Bowling Alley and Smenji's Bar and Grill. In the aftermath, Maine Community Foundation set up 2 funds, one to help the families of the deceased and those injured, and another fund called the Lewiston Auburn Broad Recovery Fund. Since the shooting, family members of those who died and survivors have said they have incurred bills that they are unable to pay. They have questioned how some of the money from the Broad Recovery Fund was actually used. Nonprofit The Root Cellar is giving back the $65,000 it received and used for trauma healing groups. The group's executive director says it's their sincere hope that other nonprofit organizations and individuals will do the same to help alleviate as much ongoing need as possible.
Well, representatives gathered at the State House to hear a report on how communities around Maine have spent opioid settlement funds to address the opioid crisis. While progress has been made, the state has much work to do. Alexa Kennedy has more.
Wednesday, the Maine Opioid Settlement Support Center presented the first annual report on opioid settlement fund spending by Maine communities. In partnership with the Substance Use and Evaluation Team at the Catherine Cutler Institute and the Maine Office of the Attorney General, the organizations have worked to promote efficient and transparent spending of the settlement funding that Mainers received in 2022 from a multi-state lawsuit. That lawsuit secured opioid settlement funds from pharmaceutical companies until 2038. Smith says the settlement funding is allocated based on individual community needs.
We're using a community up approach, engaging people with lived experience, making the decisions about what resources they need in their community and how we can best use this funding to support that.
It's Moss's job to identify and assist with how to best address them.
Today is a win for recovery and harm reduction community across Maine because we've been calling for this transparency for many years. And so today we honor the win, and then tomorrow we'll continue the fight to ensure that this money is hitting the ground and doing the best work that it can do.
According to the director of the opioid response team, Gordon Smith, results showed that while there is much work to be done, there has been progress in multiple areas. He says data shows younger generations are less affected by opioids and fewer people are overdosing upon release after incarceration because of successful treatments.
As soon as they got out, they went back to using. Their thresholds had changed, the drugs had changed, and they were at high risk of death. We rarely have a death under those circumstances anymore.
The committee voted to adjourn the meeting until Thursday. In Augusta, Alexa Kennedy, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The time now is 6:16. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, residents have voted to cut funding for sheriff patrols in the town of Stonington. We'll have more coming up.
But first, another check of that forecast. Today, we'll have a mostly cloudy day with highs near 25 degrees. Mostly cloudy tonight with lows dropping down to the teens. Partly cloudy tomorrow, a bit warmer too. Highs around 35. We'll be right back.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Unwind with a massage. Let me take away the stress of everyday life and allow you to fully relax. I offer Swedish, deep tissue, and prenatal massage. Healing Strength Massage in Bangor is your place for relaxing therapeutic massage.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
When you're ready to remodel your kitchen, find all the materials and services you need at Hammond Lumber Company. Get inspired by the extensive in-store displays in Hammond's kitchen, bath, and flooring division. Hammond's designers will help you visualize your space before the work begins. And all design fees are refunded when you purchase your materials from them. And Hammond delivers from 34 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. When it's time for a new kitchen, it's time to bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
Did she tell you she was bringing the boyfriend and the two dogs?
Mom once again had a full house.
Things did not go well. They were always fighting. They made a mess. They damaged your property. That's what children do. They were put on earth to aggravate their parents.
Now her daughter makes it personal.
Why do you think that your mother told you to leave?
Because I stopped calling her mom. Why? Because she does not act like one.
Next, Judge Judy.
Thursday at 5 on ABC 7.
The National YMCA organization gave first of its kind awards yesterday to Senator Susan Collins. It's called the Impact Award, and leaders said it went to Collins because of her, quote, unmatched support of the YMCA's mission in Maine and across the country. She was lauded for working to strengthen the Y's capacity to provide affordable child care to communities. The Y said over the past 5 years, Collins has delivered $12 million in congressionally directed funding to Ys here in Maine, as well as valuable tax credits. They also said the new YMCA facility that is taking shape in Bangor would not have happened without her support.
The Y has solutions. Its impact is changing lives for the better. And that is what we are celebrating this evening, and I'm so happy to be here with you.
Meanwhile, Stonington residents have voted to immediately terminate a long-standing contract for dedicated patrol services from the Hancock County Sheriff's Office. Town officials say the narrow vote came down to budget concerns, but some locals fear this could impact response times. Our Grace Blanchard with more.
In a tight two-margin vote, residents have voted to cut funding for a dedicated sheriff's patrol shift in the town of Stonington.
This issue has come up, before for townspeople in the past.
According to town officials, Stonington has had a long-running contract with the Hancock County Sheriff's Office to have a designated deputy in town 3 days a week for deterring crime.
There are still residents in town who want increased police presence. It's really just a matter of the additional money.
According to Fifield, the sentiment among residents was that they were covering the cost for services they should already be receiving by paying county taxes.
I also heard from a lot of residents that, they felt like by virtue of the fact that we're at the end of the line, that we're sort of subsidizing the police presence, increased police presence for everybody along the way.
Town records highlight the sheriff's office responded to more than 400 various incidents in Stonington last year. Just one day before Monday's vote, one of the town's main markets was vandalized. Some locals feared this decision could impact response times to the area.
It's nice to have someone available on short notice, and it's usually short notice that you want,
Fifield says police coverage will still be available despite the contract ending. He says increased patrol is needed across the county, which is up to the county commissioners to allocate funding for.
I don't understand why the county commissioners don't see and hear the need that their towns are asking for additional police coverage.
In Stonington, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The time now is 6:21. After the break, things got personal during a second day of hearings on Capitol Hill. We'll have more on that after the break.
Plus, City Bangor is calling on local artists to help with a large community mural in downtown Bangor. We'll hear all about it coming up on Good Morning Maine.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
Come in and visit AMHG Works, Bangor's #1 gift shop, located at 36 Springer Drive in the Rennie's Plaza. We have special gifts for you, your furry companion, and that special someone you are in need of a gift for. It's worth a trip in for unique American-made gifts. Here at AMHG Works, everything is American-made, and we are open 7 days a week for your convenience. American-made home goods. We look forward to seeing you.
At the County Federal Credit Union, we value the trust our members place in us to act in their best interest. Whether it's providing low rates on consumer loans or raising money to end hunger, we work hard to serve our members and the communities in which they live. We are excited to bring the meaningful and impactful work we do to all Mainers as we continue to grow. Wherever you are in life's journey, count on the county to be your financial partner.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
Maine's congressional delegation is seeking economic relief for the state's blueberry, potato, and apple farmers. In a letter to United States Department Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, the delegation urged the administration to continue delivering targeted data-driven support for Maine's specialty crop farmers. They also called on the administration to include lumber and fisheries in future targeted relief from tariffs. In the letter, they wrote, quote, "Given the absence of reliable, up-to-date costs of production and farm gate pricing data for many specialty crops, it is essential that USDA work directly with Maine's specialty crop stakeholders to establish payment rates that meaningfully address current losses. Failure to do so risks leaving critical sectors of Maine's agriculture economy without adequate relief during a period of extraordinary financial strain."
Well, meanwhile, Bangor Beautiful and the Bangor Region Chamber of Commerce are calling for local artists to contribute Bangor-themed repetitive pattern designs to be included in a large community mural in the downtown Bangor area this summer. The artist who will ultimately be responsible for the mural is Portland artist Rachel Gloria Adams. The design submitted must be in black and white and accompanied by a short statement explaining why the pattern represents Bangor. The muralist will be able to change the color and scale of the pattern for incorporation into the mural. We'll have a link to the site where you can submit your own designs on our website at foxbangor.com. It's a chance to have a little piece of your own work displayed for everybody to enjoy.
Very neat.
Yeah.
Bangor's done great with all their murals, too.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
So they are. Now let's get a full look at our weather forecast with meteorologist Stevin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, a small craft advisory is posted until 7 a.m. as we head towards your Friday along the coast, as we're watching for some active surf that will be developing until about that time frame. It is picking up a bit at around 3 to 4 feet according to the buoys, and again a little more active farther off towards the north and east. Meanwhile, some clouds developing, tracking from the northwest and going toward the south and east, a little boundary tracking from north to south, and we are going to be holding on to the clouds today, so not much sunshine, but we are going to see a little bit as we head towards tomorrow. And there is a system further down toward the south. It will cause some snow to move in for southwest Maine, but for us, again, not looking too bad. Some thunderstorms across parts of the Midwest as well. So moving forward for today, again, we are going to hold on to the clouds overall, but as we head towards tomorrow, some sunshine possible. And as we head towards Saturday morning, a wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow possible, transitioning to all rain. And then once we do move forward in time, more rain on the way by Sunday morning, and then we are going to get this whole thing out of here. So as we do move forward, there is a little bit of ice accumulations possible, especially as we head farther off towards the north. Anything farther down toward the south will be rather minimal at best. And again, we will continue to monitor this. And it will be a healthy rainmaker as we do move forward too, with a decent amount of rain on the way as we do push forward. And again, some areas not a whole lot farther down toward the south, around 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain possible. So for today, okay, mostly cloudy and breezy, mid-20s for the high, northwest wind at about 20 miles per hour. Later on tonight, upper teens, mostly cloudy, northeast wind at about 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow, mid-30s, all right, partly cloudy, northeast wind at about 5 miles per hour. Ultimately, the clouds will win out. Let's check out your extended forecast, brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. All right, that wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow Saturday with highs in the low 40s. The time change on Sunday, 2 a.m. skips ahead to 3 a.m. Will be mostly sunny, highs in the low 50s, and then upper 50s Monday under a partly cloudy sky.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
The Sylvia Ross Home in Bangor provides 5 professional levels of care and support for residents. We have access to a registered nurse on campus 24/7. Our weekly entertainment consists of a variety of live musical performances and bingo games twice a week. Our on-site beauty salon is available with a professional stylist, and we have 2 libraries that offer computers and Wi-Fi.
Sylvia Ross Home is a warm, welcoming community. Please join us anytime for a tour and lunch.
Who could have wanted a rising football star dead?
It's heartbreaking. Everybody's a suspect. It wasn't the police that discovered this key witness. It was ESPN. Place under arrest.
2020, Friday night on ABC and stream on Disney Plus and Hulu.
A sharp pain in his chest. He knew it was his heart, but 2 hours from the big city hospital could tragically mean the end. But it wasn't. Thanks to Senator Susan Collins' tireless fight for Maine's rural hospitals. because of Senator Collins' work, his local hospital had recently received up-to-date diagnostic equipment and upgraded facilities, all paid for with new federal funding. Lives are being saved. Call and thank our Senator Susan Collins for delivering this lifeline for Maine.
All across America.
Good morning. Good morning.
Wherever we are, it feels like home.
Man, it's good to be home.
GMA, it's an invitation to come together and brighten your morning.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
It was a second straight day of heated hearings on Capitol Hill for Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Noem was questioned about a personal relationship, about taxpayer money spent on jets, even about a blanket that caused some controversy. Here's ABC's Andrea Fugii with the story.
Things got fiery and personal during a second day of hearings on Capitol Hill for Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
You spent $172 million to buy not one, but 2 luxury jets for your travel, and now you're using taxpayer funds to lease a 3rd jet.
Noem defended the jets, saying they were approved by Congress. Some Democrats also pressed her about Corey Lewandowski, who serves as a special advisor.
Have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski?
Mr. Chairman, I am shocked that we're going down and peddling tabloid garbage in this committee today. You go off and you attack conservative women, and you say that we're either stupid
I haven't
or
said
we're
anything.
sluts.
All right, so listen.
And that's what you do. The topic turning to immigration enforcement and the killings of Alex Preddy and Renee Good in Minnesota.
And I want to give you a chance before the entire country to correct your false and defamatory claim. Based on what you know today, Madam Secretary, were Renee Good and Alex Preddy domestic terrorists?
The Secretary not directly answering the question.
My condolences to their families, because I know that their lives will never be the same.
Some Republicans criticizing the hearing and supporting Noem.
I apologize for the way you've been treated.
Much of the Homeland Security Department remains shut down. Democrats are holding back funding, demanding reforms to immigration enforcement. Andrea Fugii, ABC News, New York.
A federal judge rules some companies may now be entitled to tariff refunds. Judge Richard Eaton of the U.S. Court of International Trade ruled on Wednesday that companies who paid tariffs struck down by the Supreme Court last month are due refunds. The decision comes after the nation's highest court found President Trump exceeded his power when he imposed some of last year's global tariffs. The court says the president could not set and change tariffs without congressional approval. In the ruling, Eaton says he alone will hear cases pertaining to tariff refunds. But a formal U.S. trade official says he expects the government to appeal the decision or, quote, seek a stay or buy more time to comply. The federal government collected more than $130 billion in tariff revenue and may owe $175 billion in refunds, according to Penn Wharton budget model.
Well, a massive blast at an industrial facility in Logan Township, New Jersey, sent 5 people to the hospital on Wednesday. Gloucester County officials said 4 of those individuals were in serious condition, including the owner of the facility, according to a relative that spoke with Action News in the area. A county spokesperson added that the explosion happened at a cocoa butter and chocolate facility in South Jersey. The county spokesperson also said that many propane tanks on the site are decades old, but the exact cause of the blast remains under investigation.
We do know that a large amount of propane is stored on the premises and used for the production process. However, the cause of the explosion is currently under investigation.
Boy, that is scary.
It is,
yeah.
Definitely. Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, more art from Michelangelo could have been discovered nearly 200 years later.
We'll tell you all about it coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. We are the top source for screen printing, embroidery, branded merchandise, and direct-to-garment printing. With decades of experience, state-of-the-art equipment, and a commitment to excellence, why trust your apparel products with anyone else? And now, Brandywine Graphics can easily launch online stores for your school or organization. Simply design your products from brands like Eddie Bauer, Carhartt, and more. Share the link and we'll do the rest. Like we said, Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. Find out more at brandywinegraphics.com or at our Hamden location.
Whether you can pinpoint the problem or can't quite put your finger on it, the friendly professionals from Coastal Auto Parts can help point you in the right direction. With Maine's largest network of parts, you can trust your vehicle will have what it needs to get you to the moments that matter most. Because Napa knows the keys to a winning team. With 30 locations in Maine, Coastal Auto Parts helps keep our communities running with quality parts and helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Coastal Auto Parts is owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
Hello, this is George Whelan with Down East Direct Cremation. Now, anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, from the comfort of your desktop or the convenience of your mobile device, you can summon transport and arrange a simple, affordable, respectful Down East Direct Cremation for your deceased loved one. Just by using the button exclusively at downeastdirectcremation.com. All you need is the location address of the person who has died, their vital statistics information, a valid credit card for payment, and that's it. No need to pick up the telephone, no need to answer a bunch of questions, no need to come into the store, and it's still just $9.75 complete. It's so easy, even I can do it. For more information, visit us at downeastdirectcremation.com or call us at 207-225-5332. Simple, affordable, respectful. The button, only at downeastdirectcremation.com.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is Thursday, March 5th, 2026, and it's also National Cheese Doodle Day.
This day celebrates cheese doodles and all the forms that they come in. They were invented by accident at a Bronx food company that was trying to find another use for cornmeal-based animal feed. The machine accidentally processed cornmeal under high pressure, which resulted in a tubular shape. It then added cheese flavoring, and it continues to be a very popular snack to this day.
The people that made that, they eventually created the Wise company that makes all the potato chips and stuff like that.
Yes.
And they were in a big competition, I guess it was with Cheetos, which
Okay.
kind of overtook the market. But
Yeah, they did.
cheese doodles, cheese balls, all that stuff is still popular
Yeah,
today.
it very much.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, time for history. It was on this day back in 1770. The Boston Massacre took place as British soldiers opened fire on protesting colonists. The colonists had been taunting soldiers who were guarding the Boston Customs House at the time. 5 people were killed, and the event fueled outrage that helped spark the American Revolution. 1935, cheeseburgers were trademarked by a restaurant owner in Colorado who claimed he invented it at the Humpty Dumpty Barrel Drive-In. He was one of several people who claimed to create it, though. 1946, Britain's Winston Churchill delivered his famous speech in Missouri, warning of a Soviet expansion, saying an iron curtain has descended across the continent. And in 1963 on this date, country singer Patsy Cline and others were killed when their plane crashed in Tennessee.
Also in 1963, the hula hoop was patented by the Wham-O Toy Company. The company was started years earlier by friends Arthur Mellon and Richard Nur, who were selling slingshots and other sporting goods. The name Wham-O came from the sound that slingshots supposedly make.
Kind of interesting.
It is.
Yeah, they made it big. They switched from sporting goods to toys
Yeah.
with the introduction of the Frisbee.
Well, we had that one like a few weeks ago.
That was one of their first big ones.
In 1982, comedian John Belushi was found dead in the drug overdose in a rented bungalow in Hollywood. And in 1984, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that cities had the right to display nativity scene as part of their Christmas displays. And lastly, in 2004, Martha Stewart was convicted of using insider information in an illegal stock trade. She and her stockbroker boyfriend both received 5-month sentences.
Big news at the time.
Yes.
All right, for birthdays today, we have some interesting ones. They include actress Eva Mendes, who is 52. Magician Penn Jillette turned 71. Remember him? He was part of Penn and Teller. Maybe you don't remember him.
I have no idea.
Yeah, he was big stuff for a long time.
Okay.
And this is some guy you don't know.
But
no
clue.
I thought it was interesting. This is also the birthday of Japanese inventor Momofuku Ando, the inventor of ramen noodles.
Oh.
He was born in 1910 and lived until 2007 when he died at the age of 96. He's the guy that created like the cup of noodles and all that stuff that you still get today.
I mean, everyone buys those.
He helped feed a lot of starving college kids out there over the years. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment. 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is posted until 7 a.m. as we head towards your Friday along the coast. As we're watching for some active surf that will be taking place until about that time frame. Meanwhile, on land, we are watching for some clouds that are passing through from the north and going toward the south. We will be under a mostly cloudy sky as we do move forward today. As we do zoom things out, there is more activity farther down toward the south, but we will be dry for a little while as we do move forward in time. Futurecast showing the clouds tracking from north to south. And we are going to be holding on to those clouds for a while. Notice the activity to the south, and that will be leaving us alone. And notice a few breaks in the clouds too, so some sunshine, especially tomorrow, not out of the question. So either way, though, your hourly forecast pushing forward. Again, we are holding on to the clouds with temperatures remaining steady in the 20s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. Well, Brady Bunch House could become a protected historic landmark. Officials are currently reviewing a proposal to grant the mid-century modern home cultural monument status. It was featured in the show's opening shots from 1969 to 1976, and the house remains a beloved symbol of suburban life. And fans still visit, and HGTV even restored its interior in 2019.
Interesting.
It
I wonder if anybody lives there now, or if they just kind of keep it as a museum or something.
I think maybe they keep it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, still to come here this morning, Max Sturm with sports.
Don't go away.
Davis Brothers Furniture is expanding. At Davis Brothers, we've always strived to stand out from the rest, and we are now proud to offer flooring for your home, featuring both carpeting and luxury vinyl flooring. We even have an installer in-house with over 30 years of experience. Come see the reason people have been traveling from all over the state and beyond to Davis Brothers Furniture in Guilford for decades. Davis Brothers Furniture, deliberately different, delivering statewide.
Jamar Construction Products in Bangor continues to grow to meet our customers' needs, supplying products for site work contractors, concrete contractors, and survey and safety supplies. We are proud to be the local dealer for Hilti, Valley Blades, U.S. Fabrics, and Euclid Chemical, plus so much more. Stop by and see us at 1270 Hammond Street, or give us a call at 907-4491. If you dig it, pour it, plow it, fasten it, lay it, or lift it, Jamar Construction Products can help you.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Unwind with a massage. Let me take away the stress of everyday life and allow you to fully relax. I offer Swedish, deep tissue, and prenatal massage. Healing Strength Massage in Bangor is your place for relaxing therapeutic massage.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
ABC 7 and Fox 22's Jack Webb, named Maine's Sportscaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association.
Welcome back in, folks. The Maine men's hockey team plays their last regular season game on Saturday at Vermont. Our Jack Webb was at practice this week to catch up with the red-hot Black Bears.
Any win at this time of the year is important.
The Maine men's hockey team picked up 2 massive wins this past weekend over Northeastern, who was just 2 points ahead of the Black Bears entering the series. It was a weekend that encouraged Maine hockey fans as they watched an inconsistent squad find their footing with a sweep of the Huskies at 2 neutral sites.
That weekend was huge. Obviously, the standings are super tight still. And yeah, they're obviously right above us going into that weekend. So we wanted as many points as we could, and luckily we came away with all 6.
Gives us a lot of confidence the last few weeks, just knowing that our work in practice is starting to pay off in games for us. So obviously with the results, we're not a result-oriented team. We care about the process, but it's good to see the points falling in the right direction.
So what was the difference last weekend?
I think it's really the mentality of the team. I think there was a lot of belief this weekend on the bench. Obviously we shut them out the first night, but the second night they start to come back. They're playing good hockey in the third, and I think the belief on the bench, we knew that if we stuck with our system, there's no way they're going to beat us.
In an up-and-down year, one constant has been the presence of senior forward Owen Fowler, who scored 2 goals on Friday night.
I mean, he's always been a hard-nosed kid that plays the game the right way, but he's really he's found another level.
Obviously playing with them, 2 great players on my line, and with Sully and Josh. But I've tried to play my game the whole year, and physical, get on in their D, forecheck hard, and just generate pucks to the net and kind of cause havoc.
Going into this final weekend of the season, the Black Bears could finish anywhere from 3rd to 6th in the Hockey East standings. However, they're just trying to control the controllables.
Just trying to be where our feet are and focus on what's in on the room, the guys and the coaching staff and our systems, our structure. I think, like I said, when we're playing our best, we can play with anybody in the country, and our big focus this weekend is getting 3 points on the road.
Maine will close out the regular season at Vermont on Saturday night. Puck drops at 7 p.m. From Orono, Jack Webb, ABC7, Fox 22 Sports.
And now some exciting news from the Maine women's basketball team ahead of their America East quarterfinal matchup versus UNH on Thursday, as star senior Adriana Smith has been named the America East Player of the Year. Smith becomes just the 6th Maine-born athlete to win the award, and when you break down her stats from this year, there's no question as to why she was selected. She leads the conference in points, rebounds, and assists per game, and is the only player in the nation averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists. Smith also ranks 12th in the nation with 17 recorded double-doubles on the season, and her 55 total in her career is the most in the America East since 1994. Smith was also selected to the All-Defensive team and the All-Academic team with a GPA of 3.79. It's time we bring you all some high school hockey action, and man, did we have a crazy tilt for the Class B North title between Hamden Academy and Messalonskee. So a rematch of the same game back in 2023. The Eagles won that one. Hamden looking for their first in 23 years. First period, Hamden's Brody Miller tries the wraparound. It's saved by Nathan Kirk. It's still loose. He lays down on it to keep it scoreless later in the first. Henry Armwell is on the break, just has to beat Kirk, and Kirk stays with it, and he makes a great pad save. Early second period, Eagles on the attack. Shot is saved by Aiden Surin at first, but the rebound, it's Alex Beckwith, and he finds it and puts it in place to take the lead. But then early in the third period, here's Miles Shields. Coast to coast, he goes through the tough angle on the left side, shot and scores. We are tied, and through 2 overtime periods, we had no winner. So we head to triple overtime, and that's where it happens. Broncos shot goes wide off the boards, rolls back in front, and is tipped in and scored by Wyatt Allen, and Hamden wins their first regional title since 2003 in dramatic fashion, 2-1. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Tired of worrying whether your credit will hold you back from getting a car? At Down East Credit Union, we believe everyone deserves reliable transportation, even with less than perfect credit. Let us guide you every step of the way. If your credit score is under 670 or you've had setbacks like bankruptcy or repossession, that doesn't mean you're out of options. We'll help you get pre-approved, guide you through car shopping, and work with you on a plan to rebuild your credit. Reach out to Down East Credit Union today. Let's get you on the road confidently.
Most business problems start with one thing: unreliable technology. Digital Brains monitors, protects, and maintains your entire IT environment, keeping everything running flawlessly. When your technology works for you, your business starts thriving. Faster service, happier clients, more productivity, less stress. Clients don't wait, neither should you. Contact Digital Brains today for your free technology assessment. Digital Brains, we help people feel free.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Welcome back, everyone. After nearly 200 years, a marble bust of Christ the Savior housed in a Roman church could actually have been designed by Renaissance artist Michelangelo. It comes after an independent researcher claimed on Wednesday she made the discovery following a decade of extensive archival work. But the research, if verified, challenges the long-held belief that Michelangelo destroyed his works late in life and instead suggests his art was carefully transferred with a trusted circle after his death. Still, some experts are voicing skepticism and downplaying the latest research.
It's a perfectly good historical procedure, and she's absolutely, valid in doing this in this fashion. There's nothing wrong with the methodology. It's the conclusions, what she draws and the conclusions of what little she has discovered in the archives. The conclusions are much more radically well drawn, broadly drawn from very little evidence that she has.
The researcher claims the findings show other works also belong to Michelangelo, which could start a broader process of returning the lost works to the artist.
Very interesting.
It is.
Yeah. By the way, I looked into it.
Yeah.
Nobody lives in the Brady Bunch house anymore.
No? Okay.
Somebody bought it years ago for like $3.5 million.
Oh, wow.
And they now use it as kind of a museum. They have charity events there, and they've decorated the inside like the 1970s.
Very interesting.
So, now you know.
Now we know.
I needed to know that.
Yeah. Now here's meteorologist Evan Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, a small craft advisory is posted until 7 a.m. as we head towards your Friday along the coast, as we're watching for some active surf that will be developing until about that time frame. It is picking up a bit at around 3 to 4 feet according to the buoys, and again a little more active farther off towards the north and east. Meanwhile, some clouds developing, tracking from the northwest and going toward the south and east, a little boundary tracking from north to south, and we are going to be holding on to the clouds today, so not much sunshine, but we are going to see a little bit as we head towards tomorrow. And there is a system further down toward the south. It will cause some snow to move in for southwest Maine, but for us, again, not looking too bad. Some thunderstorms across parts of the Midwest as well. So moving forward for today, again, we are going to hold on to the clouds overall, but as we head towards tomorrow, some sunshine possible. And as we head towards Saturday morning, a wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow possible, transitioning to all rain. And then once we do move forward in time, more rain on the way by Sunday morning. And then we are going to get this whole thing out of here. So as we do move forward, there is a little bit of ice accumulations possible, especially as we head farther off towards the north. Anything farther down toward the south will be rather minimal at best. And again, we will continue to monitor this. And it will be a healthy rainmaker as we do move forward too, with a decent amount of rain on the way as we do push forward. And again, some areas not a whole lot farther down toward the south, around 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain possible. So for today, okay, mostly cloudy and breezy, mid-20s for the high, northwest wind at about 20 miles per hour. Later on tonight, upper teens, mostly cloudy, northeast wind at about 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow, mid-30s, all right, partly cloudy, northeast wind at about 5 miles per hour. Ultimately, the clouds will win out. Let's check out your extended forecast, brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. All right, that wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow Saturday with highs in the low 40s. The time change on Sunday, 2 a.m. skips ahead to 3 a.m. Will be mostly sunny, highs in the low 50s, and then upper 50s Monday under a partly cloudy sky.
Come in and visit AMHG Works, Bangor's #1 gift shop.
located at 36 Springer Drive and the Rennie's Plaza. We have special gifts for you, your furry companion, and that special someone you are in need of a gift for. It's worth a trip in for unique American-made gifts. Here at AMHG Works, everything is American-made, and we are open 7 days a week for your convenience. American-made home goods. We look forward to seeing you.
Huckleberry's Card and Gift has a wide selection of puzzles for the entire family. Local items, including raised mustard and scone mix from the Scone Goddess, jewelry, town signs, coffee mugs, and much more. Located in front of the Brewer City Hall.
The Sylvia Ross Home in Bangor provides 5 professional levels of care and support for residents. We have access to a registered nurse on campus 24/7. Our weekly entertainment consists of a variety of live musical performances and bingo games twice a week. Our on-site beauty salon is available with a professional stylist, and we have 2 libraries that offer computers and Wi-Fi.
Sylvia Ross Home is a warm, welcoming community. Please join us anytime for a tour and lunch.
Dorsey Furniture has just purchased the entire Bedding Industries of America 2025 showroom. That's one of America's oldest and largest premium mattress manufacturers. They manufacture famous Eastman House and Eclipse mattresses, as well as over 20 other trusted brands. From that buyout, we've received 40 mattresses, mostly queen size. And right now, everyone is 50% off. Limited quantity, no reorders. When they're gone, they're gone. Dorsey Furniture, family owned, Maine trusted.
Sleep well, my friends.
That's right. I'm getting in shape for the Oscars. And I'm not the only one.
We're on a mission.
Come on, just 12 more miles. Let's go.
Just play the game.
People's Choice Award won a marathon last week.
If you think you had a hard time waking up this morning, these bears at Whipsnady Zoo in the UK woke up from 3 months of deep slumber on Wednesday.
Boy, that sounds great.
It does
3
sound
months.
great. Meet Mana, Minnie, Naya, and of course Cinderella. They were a little sluggish at first, but they began exploring their woodland home. Over the next week or so, they'll truly wake up. It's the perfect sign that spring is now arriving. Wild bears enter hibernation, a survival skill that they've learned to preserve energy when food availability is scarce, even in winter, or every winter. Although food is plentiful here at the zoo, zookeepers say the bears are still driven by their innate instincts to forage, and so the zoo adapts what they are to feed and match their behavior. Look at them.
They look pretty happy, too.
They do.
That's what you look like if you get enough sleep.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a while. That reminds us, our bears will be coming out around here pretty soon.
They sure will.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this hour, but you can join us for the second hour of Good Morning Maine. That's next on Fox 22.
Thanks for being there, everyone. We hope you have a great day.
Bring your new kitchen to life with help from the Kitchen, Bath, and Flooring Division by Hammond.
Tired of being customer 45978? Yeah, we would be too. Speed means fast uploads, no lag, and zero buffering. But it also means calling you back, showing up on time, and treating you like a person, not a problem. So whether you're working, streaming, gaming, or all 3, it is time to make the switch to a provider that actually tries. Go NetSpeed. Service isn't dead. It just moved local.
To win every single day. Today's the day. Let's celebrate. $1 million every year for the rest of my life, and maybe yours too.
What matters more? A bank with innovative products or one that cares for the community? At Bangor Savings Bank, we think it's both because our innovation helps customers build stronger credit, earn rewards when shopping local, give teens independence and financial experience, and simplify business with local solutions. So what matters more? You.
I know that you're sitting right in front of me, but can I say hi to Douglas?
Obviously.
Hey, gorgeous. Hi, Douglas.
Douglas is making this interview super fun.
When I rescued him, he was 8 weeks old.
I'm being licked right now.
Dougie's really the star.
Where does the dog go after the show?
My house.
Weekdays at 11 on Fox 22.
Good Morning Maine on WFVX, Fox 22. To the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, we'll hear from a local financial advisor about how to navigate the stock market with the Iran war and economic impacts.
Plus, a beloved business in Quebec was destroyed in a fire yesterday. We'll hear how much it meant to community members.
And the Maine Opioid Settlement Center presented the first annual report of spending in different Maine communities. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Polson. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning. We'll have those stories and all the day's news coming up. But first, to check that forecast, a little icy this morning. You'll want to take it easy heading out there. Even walking to your car today, watch out. It's a little slippery in the driveways.
I almost fell, so definitely be careful. It's a little bit chillier than it was yesterday.
It is going to be colder today, but don't worry,